Magandang gabi mga kapatid. Excited na ba kayo? Natutuwa ako. Nandito na naman kayong lahat. So if this is your first time, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me on all the other platforms of Empower and Transform. That's our company that aims to provide free financial education to everybody who deserves it and who needs it the most. Okay, so I'd like to introduce already my co-host for today, Warren de Guzman. Come up.
Thanks,
Hi, Warren.
Salve. Hi, and thanks to
Kamusta?
all of our viewers. Kamusta kayo? Nako, kompleto na naman yung attendance natin, Salve. Nandiyan na si Naari, si Maria, si Ada, nako, si Quinto. Hello.
Oh,
Good
may mga
evening
bago
po.
tayong viewers
Alvin,
today.
nga, may mga bago. Hello,
Yeah.
kamusta kayo? Thank you
And
for
we're really
coming on.
excited now to learn something new today on Kumu. We are on Facebook, YouTube, and Kumu, guys. So please let me know. At tawagan nyo na ang inyong mga kapatid, kaibigan, kabarangay, si Mayor. Pwede rin.
Yes.
Para
And
lahat tayo matuto today from our guests.
tama, and please don't forget to send us those stickers on YouTube and those virtual gifts on Kumu so that when we get to the best part of the show, yung Q&A, mauuna ang mga tanong nyo. Alright?
Ayan, may bago kaming rule kasi ang dami po talaga
Ang
lagi
dami
tayong
kasi, oo. Ang dami kasi.
binabaha tayo ng questions and sometimes I feel that, hindi na natin nababalikan. But if you can send your super chat and stickers, then we'll read your questions first and we'll make sure. Pero ito try pa rin namin na basahin lahat ng questions hanggang sa dulo. All right. And
All right.
partner Warren, I think we have to talk about something that is a very timely right now. Timely right now. Napaka-simple lang na mga steps kung paano mag-invest sa tinatawag na unit investment trust funds. Ikaw ba, partner, meron ka nito?
Meron ako niyan. It's the easiest thing to do. And we're going to talk about 7 steps to do it. All right,
Oo.
Salve?
Yeah, so yung UITFs, these are pooled funds, iba-ibang klase yan. Kaya ang unang-una natin na dapat gawin is to, bago kayo pa pumunta ng bangko, aralin nyo na what's the difference between bonds, equities, ano yung balance funds, ano yung iba-ibang klaseng UITFs. Dapat may kaalaman muna bago pa kayo pumunta sa bangko. Napaka-importante niyan. And ang kagandahan kasi ngayon, ang dami ng resources out there on the internet, i-google nyo lang yan. But of course, in Empower and Transform, in our pages, and in this YouTube channel, makakakita na kayo ng simpleng information what these are to help you decide para pagdating nyo sa bangko, ready na kayo.
Absolutely. And of course, you need to prepare what you need to open these types of investments. So if you're going to go to the bank and you're going to invest with them, you're going to need some identification, usually 2 government IDs yan. But again, we're having the PSA PhilSys system na supposedly it's supposed to make things better, and you're only going to need this one ID for everything. So we'll see how that will impact the way you invest in UITFs moving forward. You can prepare at least 5,000 for this, for the minimum investment. But there are other institutions that will let you invest for less, like ATR Asset Management, yung 50 pesos lang, pwede na. Pero it's parang UITF pa rin ang investment dyan. You still have to go through the risk assessment process.
Ayun, sayang nga partner Warren, hindi pa pwede to online, lalo na kung wala ka pang account. But right now, if you want to invest in this UITF, kailangan yung pumunta ng bangko. Na pagpasok nyo sa bangko, hahanapin ninyo yung investment officer. Hindi tayo doon sa teller, Diretso tayo doon sa investment officer, tapos ang tatanong nyo, gusto ko po mag-invest sa UITF. And then, minsan pwede kahit tanong mo sa gwardya, o kaya doon kahit sa ibang mga tao doon, ituturo kayo doon sa investment account officer. You will have to answer her questions and she will prepare you how to invest your money.
Absolutely. And ito yung kailangan yung tandaan. When you're answering the questions or you're filling up the forms, this is actually how they're going to gauge your risk level, how much risk that you can actually tolerate. Or when we talk about risk, it means how we want your money to perform. Kung takot ka bang mawalan ng pera, or kung agresibo ka, gusto mong kumita ng malaki as soon as possible. So keep in mind that they're trying to figure out what that is for you, and be careful. And because if you're too careful naman with your answers, you won't be able to invest in equities. They'll just stick you with the most conservative UITFs there. So talk to the investing officer, answer the questions truthfully, but also tell them that you want a good return on your money so that they can give you access to those equity funds.
Yun nga, partner Warren, sabi ko kanina sa'yo, yung masyadong walang alam, natatag as very conservative. So in the end, hindi sila nakaka-invest nun sa mga UITFs that will really build their wealth over time. So knowledge first so that you can invest with less risk in even a little more aggressive instruments. That's the next thing that you need to do is choose the funds with lowest fees and moderate risk. Hi, doggy! All right. Okay lang yan. Ganyan na talaga yung mundo ngayon. Ako din pusa, di ba?
Yeah. And my dog Bigote wants to know about UITFs as well. And then when you're going into the bank,
yeah, go lang, look lang for the ones with lowest fees. Sometimes kasi, ang tinitingnan lang ng mga Pilipino, kita. What we look for is how much this will earn. We forget that the fees can ruin your returns, and there's going to be a segment, an expert later who will talk about that. So, tanungin nyo ang investment account officer, how much are the fees for each investment fund na ino-offer sa inyo?
Absolutely. There are many resources for those fees actually online, and you can ask Salve and I about that as well. And then finally, before you get into that, you're going to have to set up an account with wherever you're going to be investing in. Okay, that account, your settlement account, is what it's called. That's where you put your money. That's going to go into the UITF. That's also where they're going to put your earnings when you sell out of your investment, or if you have any dividends or anything like that. And some of the banks can also set up an auto debit for you na para wala ka ng problema, diretso na yung pera nyo every month after sweldo, papasok na kagad sa UITF.
Ay, that's really the secret, the automatic subscription, di ba? Yung redemption, bahala kayo kung kailan, but the automatic subscription is the best. And then set up your online access to your funds. This is, for me, Warren, when I started investing, wala nito eh. Di ba? Parang, you have to go to the bank each time. But now, especially after the pandemic, everything is online, and it makes it easier for each one of you, investors out there, to just stay in your house and then check your account. And if you have extra money, papasok nyo lang. Ganun lang kabilis talaga. And so these guys are the steps how you can, because a lot of people are asking us how to do it. Natutuwa sila sa mga tinuturo natin pero hindi nila alam how to do it. These are the 7 easy steps so you can start building your wealth.
Yeah, absolutely. Importante yung online access, and keep in mind the user experience sa mga platform nila. That should also tell you which of these UITF people or organizations or programs are really are careful and actually care about the people who invest. So hanap kayo ng magandang user experience, di ba, online. Okay. All right. So let's get into our first guest tonight. This is somebody.
Ako.
Oh, it's great story. Franz Angeles. She will not. She's very modest, but she came from modest beginning as well. From just a maid, she is now a registered financial planner, and she's actually helping other OFWs, achieve their financial goals out in Dubai, in the Middle East. So it's a great story, and she's going to tell us more about that. Franz, come on up. Franz, grabe. It's the dream of OFWs, to really do better and to actually see their savings grow, their money grow, so that they can help their loved ones. So Franz, nako, ang galing-galing mo. You're helping so many other OFWs.
Oh.
Hello. Tell us about your journey.
Ayan. Thank you so much for inviting me, Ms. Salve. Sabi ko nga, this is actually things that I wanted to avoid. If yung sharing ko would also help and inspire other people, I would really want to do so. So my first stint as an OFW, by the way, when I use OFW, I have my own meaning on the OFW, Overseas Filipino Winner. That's how I coined that OFW thing. It was actually in 1990 when I experienced my being a maid. Actually, it was just out of working abroad. That time was just out of my excuse. I just wanted to run away from a result of my board exam, just to lessen the frustration, because I'm expecting something na parang hindi ako papasa. So and I've heard some of my friends na umalis. So all the while, I met the recruiter and sabi niya, you will be a tutor. So to cut the long story short, I applied and I go through the entire process. I was so young that then. I really don't have any clue what it is.
Kalabaw lang ang tumatanda.
And to think na even so, mga documents ko, I know it was, doctored. So, but anyways, the first, when I reached there, then as I was expecting the tutor nga, but unfortunately, hindi pala tutor yung talagang trabaho. It was just something na parang inano lang nung agency. Then, when we met yung aking employer, I explained to him that this is not the kind of job na in-applyan ko. So, he was so furious. He was frustrated.
Nalaglag. Nalaglag ng konti. Ayan, nakabalik na.
Wala akong magawa kundi talagang mag-complain sa kanila. Then they complained as well to the agency. So to cut the long story short, nagstay ako for a month doon. Then pinauwi nila ako. Of course, I still work with that feeling of uncertainty kasi I have that fear actually dahil unang-una culture shock. I mean, Saudi is one of the least country na gustong puntahan ng maraming tao to honestly.
Nahirapan ka, no? Mahirap for you.
Yeah,
But what was the most difficult moment at the time?
It's a culture shock actually kasi basically wala akong idea anong klase yung kultura sa country na yon. And to think na yun nga, it's the house is 11-story building. They have their own private lift and they have their 10th and 11th floor, nandun kami. And sabi ko, pag tumagal ako dito, there will be two things na pwede mangyari sa akin. Whether I go back home na nasa crate or I go back home na wala sa sarili. But,
Nilabot ako. Alam mo na tayo, anong balahibo ko. And I think Warren can relate.
Yeah.
I mean, not because he worked there, but he lived in the UAE.
Yeah, in Saudi, in Riyadh, pinanganak ako doon na France. So, tagal ako doon actually. Pero yeah, it's a hard place to be for, especially for a woman. Yes.
Yeah. So nakauwi naman ako after more than a month. Walang sahod yun kasi sabi nila ginamit nila yung sahod ko for my fare going back. Kasi nga hindi natapos yung kontrata. Then when I reached Manila, sabi ko, by the way, yung labas ko na yon, there's no one around me agrees, especially my family, because of my being hard-headed, hinilit ko pa rin. Then when I returned there, nag-report ako sa agency, I explained my part. I have some, may mga ako na dahil dun sa mga gawaing hindi ko talaga siya ini-expect. Then sabi nila, would you like to explore another employer kasi meron dito? Sabi ko no kasi alam niyo naman nangyari. Pero sige, pinagbigyan ko, in-interview ako and that's it. Sabi ko I could not decide right now kasi alam mo yung nangyari sa akin. Then after that, I go to PRC to check ano nangyari sa board exam ko. Unfortunately, I missed a few points. So I don't really wanted to go back home empty-handed. So I decided. My parents didn't really even know na umuwi ako. Sa Manila na ako. So I go back to the agency. Sabi ko, ayan ang passport ko. Process it. So sabi nung employer, okay, we'll go to Saudi, to Jeddah by Thursday. I said, I cannot go that fast kasi hindi pa nga alam ng parents ko na nandito ako. Sabi niya, sige, baka magka-problema tayo eventually, di magpaalam ka. Tapos I realized, pag nagpaalam ako, hindi naman talaga sila papayag in the first place. Hindi nga sila payag doon sa una kong alis. So again, another hard-headed decision. So nag-iwan na lang ako ng letter to inform them na umuwi ako pero bumalik ulit ako. That's for another employer. So to cut a long story short, I stayed there. The family was treated me well. They are good, well educated, and they are so kasi doktor yung employer ko na lalaki and yung babae is very mabait silang family. So I stayed there for the contract was 2 years actually. I extended for another year hoping na makakasama ako sa US. It doesn't happen. Then I returned home 1993. And fortunately, I landed into a job sa pagbalik ko ng Pilipinas. But when I left Saudi that time, the second time, sinabi ko na sa sarili ko na if ever nalalabas pa din ako, it should be a different path, a different course. So
we only have a little bit of less than 3 minutes left. How did you make the transition to what you're doing now? And why did you take up financial literacy as your advocacy there in Dubai?
When I returned to Philippines after that first stint of as an OFW, I landed to a job na nasa development organization, PRM and Care Philippines. I have deep experience with community development. So, social work ba? So, after I finished my contract, I worked there for more than 12 years. So there's no way for me to get another package like that dahil na-experience ko na yung malaking package. So I was forced to go abroad. So dito na nga yun sa Dubai because my family is growing. I have a growing expenses. Then when I land here, sabi ko, parang hindi ako kailangan ng country na to kasi napaka-advanced niya. Because I am deeply rooted na nga doon sa exposure ko sa community development. So I look for something na ano ko yung feeling ko na hinahanap ko na yon. So then I found this group, actually I'm part of international marketing group. I found this group na dito ko na nakita ito yung hinahanap kong community work. And it's because nga na maraming mga OFWs din dito, especially yung mga nagwo-work sa bahay. And that's where my heart really goes to, na sila yung mas favorite ko na i-assist. And actually, this is just the second time na that people knows that I have that experience as a maid. Ano?
Yung sikreto.
Hindi ko naman siya sikreto actually, para siguro sa tagal lang kasi hindi naman talaga yung mas gusto ko actually ma-highlight yung experience ko being a financial advocate, and that's the reason why really sa ngayon yung ginagawa ko, marami akong mga ina-assist na nag-work sa bahay kasi sila yung tao na mas nangangailangan.
Agree.
So that's why my heart goes with them actually, na gusto ko sila yung mas matulungan. And honestly speaking, sa experience ko as a financial advocate, mas sila yung madaling shift into starting sa investments. Mas madali sila kaysa dun sa mga professionals kasi alam mo yon, yung the lifestyle and all those things.
Hindi matigas ang ulo.
I guess
because of their difficulty, they're ready for transformation. Ano, partner Warren? We only have 2 minutes left.
Yeah, and ang galing, I'm sure your initial experience as being an OFW na nagkatrabaho sa mga bahay sa Saudi Arabia, nakatulong din sa decision mo na gawin yan yung advocacy mo, no? And it's absolutely amazing. Totoo yan na ang hirap sa Saudi, lalo na sa Saudi, dahil sa environment doon for women especially. And I'm glad that there's somebody out there like you who's targeting those people to help them out. So ang galing. And I'm glad na yung finding mo na mas madali pa lang i-convince ang mga kasambahay na OFW sa Saudi or sa Middle East na magkaroon ng personal financial responsibility. That's great news for me. Ang galing. Congratulations on your work.
So, bago natin pababain si Franz, because we have another guest coming up, and then we'll bring her back again for the question and answer segment. So, lahat pong nakikinig sa Kumu, sa Facebook, and sa YouTube, hindi kami makapag-shoutout. We'll shout out later on in the question and answer segment. But please do type in your questions now. And as we said earlier, you can send super chat and stickers para mauna namin kayong...
Para mauna mga tanong nyo. Yes.
Kasi unahan na po ngayon eh. Tapos sa Kumu naman, you can also ask questions. Just send us your questions. There are a lot of very good friends of Franz listening right now, and they're sending their love to you. So, Franz, before we bring you down, kaya ng mga kasambahay mag-ipon?
Yes. It just needs a continuous education for them. Somebody who can assist them and guide them all throughout. Hindi lang yung educate mo lang sila at one time, din hayaan mo na sila. No. It would be a hand-in-hand thing until such time that they can do it on their own.
I'm amazed. And alam ko yung Saturday. Oh, thank you, Elu Pangan sent Comuniverse.
Oh, wow, thank you.
Bestie yan ni Franz tsaka ni Cherry. Alam mo, while you're saying that, because we were together, partner Warren, in one of the events I was speaking to mga kasambahay in the UAE, and Franz brought me there and helped me talk to the people para nga mag-change yung buhay. And as you were saying that, kasambahay man, kaya mag-ipon, kaya maging financially independent, nangingilabot ako talaga. Nagtatayuan yung balahibo ko because I have seen the most amazing people who are household service workers, not just in the UAE, but around the world. And thank you, Franz, for sharing your story. Maraming salamat. Send na po ng questions ninyo. Uy, send your love to Franz in the comment section, please. Kung mahal na mahal niyo siya, press 1. Press 1 para mabilis. Thank you so much, Franz. We'll bring you back again for the question and answer segment later. Maraming salamat. For our second guest.
All right.
Andrew Stotz, a chartered financial analyst, is the former president of the CFA Society in Thailand and is one of Thailand's award-winning equity analysts. So guys, take advantage of this
Prepare your
opportunity to send in
questions.
your
Oo.
questions, tama. He is also the founder and CEO of A Stotz Investment Research, a financial services company based in Bangkok, Thailand. My friend Andrew, come up. Oh, Pogi.
Great to see you guys.
Hello,
You know what I
Andrew.
said? Pogi is good looking.
Oh,
So,
you're always so sweet. Well, I just have to
Andrew.
say FTW. That's my letters for you. Franz the
win.
winner.
Oh, all right. I
Franz the
love
winner.
that.
Nice,
I love
nice.
that.
Yeah,
I learned
Nice.
something new
that was
today.
great.
All
Yeah.
right. Now, Andrew, talk to us very briefly. We only have 8 minutes here about how fees can ruin returns. There are a lot of number ones in the audience, in the audience, in the comment section, sending love to our former guest, previous guest. So how can fees ruin their returns? Because when I see a lot of people asking about investments, whether here in YouTube, on Facebook, or in Kumu, or in any other platform, they keep on sending us, Warren and me, questions on how to invest. Their number one question is, how much do I earn? But they don't really ask, how much is the fee?
Yep. Well, I would, I want to go back to 1998. In August of 1998, I was living in Thailand, and in fact, I came from Los Angeles, and I moved to Thailand in 1992. In 1998, I got a call from my older sister, to say that she had cancer and that it was likely she would pass away very soon.
Sorry
So
to hear
I got on an airplane, and I went back home in 1998, and within a week, my sister passed away. And it was a tragic time for me and for my family. But more importantly, part of the story about fees comes back to my sister had 3 daughters that were all very young. Didn't even, the youngest one really never knew her mother. And as they grew up over time, and I was a financial expert, I thought, what could I do to help them? And so I started taking a lot of notes over time. My job really was to take care of institutional clients, not individual. But I decided that I would, make it my goal to try to help them invest. When the first of those young girls, Kristen, turned 18, she graduated from high school, I flew back to America, and I brought $3,000 in my hand. And I put it down on the table, and I said, that's your graduation present, but you can't spend it. I'm going to help you invest that. And we opened up an account in America. It's pretty simple. You can open up an account, in this case, with, let's say, Vanguard. We opened up that account, and she bought an ETF, or a mutual fund in her case, that owned every stock in the world. And I just told her, keep buying every single month, never stop, never sell, because you own every stock in the world. What was the fee of that fund? The fee of that fund was about 0.2. No sales charge, no any other charges, just 0.2%.
Wow.
Now, if you look at the average person in Asia, not just in the Philippines, but in Thailand and all around, I would estimate they're probably paying about 3%. Now, if you think about that, 0.2 versus 3%, because remember, they have sales charges, they have back-end fees, they got front-end fees, they have so many different things. The point that I would say is that, and that doesn't even take into consideration taxes. Now, many countries around Asia have no tax on capital gains, but there are taxes if you're investing, around the world. But the point is that in the end, you will end up with maybe 50 or 60 or 70% more money if you could invest at, let's say, 0.2 versus 2%, let's say. It's a massive impact, because remember, with your fees, you're giving it away today. That means it's compounding for someone else. And so that impact of fees is massive. And, I just want to tell another story. My father was working for one company all of his life with my mother, and my mother raised us. She was a housewife, like many of your mothers are. And my mom and dad were not rich. They saved money. When they retired, my dad was 58, and they had 22 years of retirement because they had invested carefully, kept their fees low, diversified. and always were very careful about not overspending. My father passed away 5 years ago. I was with him in America when it happened, and he had a massive hemorrhage. My mother was in a rehab hospital, having just recently had a stroke. I decided to bring my mother to Thailand. It was not easy given her condition, but I got her to Thailand. When we sat down at one point, I brought out her investment account and I showed her, you have more money than you can spend before you die.
Oh.
You've done it. You've done it. So in my family, I have my nieces who have started from beginning, and my mother who's now 83. For anybody that knows me or follows me, they see my pictures of my mother every day.
Oh, she's amazing. She's
And
just
Yeah,
this
amazing.
great spirit.
So the point is, you got to diversify. You got to be contributing every single month. You've got to start early, but importantly, fees. And trust me, banks, mutual funds, all of these things, places will make it as confusing as possible. As someone said to me once, I don't even really know how they charge me or how much.
That's true.
That is
But-
true.
After the 2008 financial crisis, the CFA Institute came up with 10 investor rights. And I think that they're really great, but one of them stands out. You have a right to know the fees that you're being charged. And if you don't understand it, you have a right to ask that it be explained in a way that you do understand. So I want to empower, since this is about empowering and transforming, I want to empower the listeners. Ask in detail, what are the fees? What if I sell? What is the fees going to this person and that person? Everybody's getting paid in the financial world. So I think that really, is the key. You've got to ask, what are the fees? Now, it's impossible for a person in the Philippines, in Thailand, as an example, to get as low as 0.2 or 0.1. It's just impossible.
Here.
You've got to just try to get it as low as possible. But there's one thing I would say, the last thing that I would say, and that is, from my experience, what I have seen is that when I talk to an audience in Thailand, there's not overseas workers, but with Filipinos, there's overseas workers. So also look at investing globally. Look at investing where you are, because sometimes that may provide the best opportunity.
Perfect, Andrew. You're just so amazing. Very quickly, before I move to the question and answer segment, guys, don't forget, just type in your questions already because we're going to move fast and we'll end this session in around 10 minutes. First, before I bring Franz back up, sometimes some funds have hidden fees like performance fees. How can an investor bring this out in the discussion with their financial advisor? What questions should they ask?
Basically, you have to ask the advisor, please tell me all the fees.
Right.
That's the critical thing. I need to know all fees. Is there an exit fee? Is there an entry fee? Is there a performance fee? And try to get all the fees. And I can tell you from all the research I've done and the research that I've read, you're going to be better off if you keep those fees as low as possible. Even if somebody's telling you, but our performance is great and all that, keep the fees as low as possible.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Andrew. Andrew, a lot of people are saying in the comment section, mine. Do you know what that means?
No, tell me.
They are mining you.
As we say in
They
Thai.
are mining you. Are you single?
I'm still single. Yes, I am.
And somebody
Oh, there
said,
you go, guys.
Sawadee Sawadee ka, Kun,
Okay, that's good.
Andrew.
I know
Alright,
some of my
somebody
Filipino
here.
friends have been living in Thailand, and I have a lot of Filipino friends around the world, in fact. So, but yes, I'm still single because I haven't yet grown up. But when I get older, I may consider.
Guys, later, Andrew will tell you where you can find him and how you can follow him. But he's just this amazing person. I had this great conversation with him about drugs. Remember that? He has just amazing heart. Thank you so much. Thank you, Warren. We didn't get the question from Warren in that segment. I'm so sorry, but we'll do that in the question and answer segment, which is
Just
now.
one last thing is that I have a free gift for the audience, and I've provided it, and I think Ralph will put it up. But I'm giving the chapter on fees to my online course, as well as a massive, massive discount. So make sure that you get it when it comes up on the screen.
Amazing,
link.
amazing. All right, all
Great
right.
stuff,
Question
Andrew.
and answer. Warren, can you? Oh, there
There's
you
the
Let's take a
go.
look at these
bingo.
Q&As.
So high tech with a QR
Take a
code.
snapshot.
So guys, take a
Oh, there you
snapshot so
go.
you
Yeah,
can
take a
get
snapshot,
Andrew's
guys.
free gift
Take
on
advantage.
fees.
That'll give you the
Opportunity
PDF.
is knocking.
Yep. That'll give you the PDF. And then it also gives about a 75% discount to the course. I'd love to get some of my Filipino friends into the course. And we have a Facebook group where I help you to actually figure out where you should be investing.
All right, we'll bring in, right? Thank you so much for that, Andrew. We'll flash that again later before we end the
Yep.
show so that people can, so people can take advantage of your very beautiful gift. I think that's it's a gift that will keep on giving.
Yep.
All right, so, very quickly, a lot of number one for France. So France, go up for the question and answer segment.
Come on up,
There's a lot
France.
of
Come back
love.
on.
Can you
There
press
you
2
go.
to send love to Andrew? If you love that session with him, press 2. All right, a lot of people.
Oh, there's
are
no way
pressing
I'm going to
2.
be able to beat France there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of press 2 already. All right. Come on. Partner Warren, can you take this first question? Oh, this first question is for France.
Let's go. How can you
How
reach
can
us? Oh, how can you reach these domestic helpers in Hong Kong? They want help as well. So, wag lang naman daw yung mga taga Middle East. Can the people from Hong Kong avail of your services, France?
naka-mute ka po?
Yeah, I think you're on
Yes.
mute.
Yes. Everything now is online. It's
All
very
right.
online. So Zoom, you can just connect with me via my Facebook, and I also have my my FB page.
Okay, so that's great. Andrew, we want to promote your classes also, but they might need somebody who speaks in Filipino, or if they're living in Hong Kong, they can speak English. They can just join. Are your courses also for very beginners? Like,
That course is based upon this book called How to Start Building Your Wealth Investing in the Stock Market that I wrote for my 5 nieces that I told you about.
Awesome.
It's absolutely simple, absolutely
gosh.
beginner.
Fantastic. Okay, so go reach out to France, reach out to Andrew. Let us know. We can also help you with your financial education needs. Thank you for the funky fight, Dinah. Okay,
Here's
I will
another
take
question from Aisha.
Okay,
This is something that
Great.
Aisha, there you go. Which company has the lowest charges? Maybe you can also talk about which products have the lowest charges.
Okay, Aisha is
Which
based in
investment
the US. She's also another on the money follower. I love this
Ayun.
girl. Okay, so question.
that's
Andrew,
for-
can you take that?
Well, the
Andrew,
first
yeah.
thing I would say is that
Happy
if you're in
Dinah.
the US and you can open up an account in the US, you're always going to have a massively lower cost. So the first step, and I always tell people in Thailand, if you're making money outside, obviously you got to send some money home to mom and dad. But besides that, I would generally not bring money back into Philippines, Thailand, and these countries because the fees are so high. So if you can open an account outside, you should try. And
She's in the US. Andrew, she's in the States, so you can.
I would go to Vanguard in the States is one of the best, super low cost. Just go to vanguard.com and then you can learn more information there.
Yeah,
I'm not related to those funds. Yeah. Vanguard's got the best passive funds.
Yeah.
But
same.
talking in general,
my
which
recommendation,
products
the same
would you
thing.
recommend? Like
ETFs or
UITFs?
index funds.
So
Yeah.
if what I would recommend is that you go to Vanguard and look for the VT fund. The VT fund owns every stock in the world, about 9,000 stocks. And that's the fund that I taught to my nieces about. And I just think with that fund, you don't have to worry about, should I overweight the Philippines or should I overweight Thailand or should I overweight the US or what if this is going to crash? You own every stock. Therefore, you have equity exposure that you can grow over a long period of time. So look for the VT fund. If you can't find VT, then ask any place that you go. I believe Security Pacific Bank, in fact, in Philippines, has something like that. Just ask, what is the fund that owns the largest number of stocks? And let them tell you.
Yeah, go ahead. Andrew, we don't have much time. quick before I move to our thumb game. ETFs versus index funds.
So
Where are you on
basically, first of all, an index fund is the core instrument. An ETF is just a tool to access that fund. They both hold the same stocks. So generally nowadays, they're almost the same. But if you're in the Philippines, I would say it's probably going to be cheaper to do it through a through a mutual fund. If you want to try to do it through an ETF, it gets a little bit more expensive. But if you have a lot of money, ETFs can be a little bit more handy. So generally, I would focus on the unit investment trust funds and mutual funds and those types of things rather than ETF.
All right, there are a lot of questions. I'm sorry, and we're flooded by so many number twos and some very interesting questions before I go to the thumb game. S&P 500, SPY, S&P 500, or Vanguard VOO.
And that's who's that? JC.
Yeah.
I would say they're about equal. There's not that much difference, so they're about equal. Don't get too caught up in the comparing those two.
Fantastic. Okay. I would love to ask so many more questions.
One more. What's the recommendation for people from Thailand or in the Philippines to invest in U.S. Mutual funds? How to do it? What platform?
So the platform, one of the platforms that you can consider, I know that some people in the Philippines are using eToro. I would also say that you have Interactive Brokers is one of the brokerage accounts that you can set up. And that's a second one that I would say is pretty good. And with Interactive Brokers, you can get access to mutual funds and ETFs. So it's a pretty good one, and it's super, super low cost. So if we're talking about fees and we're talking about costs, and you've got your money, particularly if you can get your money out, a lot of people in Thailand can transfer their money to Interactive Brokers and set up a brokerage account, and then they can trade at a very, very low fee.
I agree. Okay.
And what about Forex
I have
risk?
to go to
Forex risk. What about Forex risk? Tell the audience about that.
So in Thailand, I don't know what it is in the Philippines, but in Thailand, the mutual funds that are investing outside of Thailand have hedging of the currency. So you want to ask the question, if it's a fund that's in the Philippines, does it have hedging? If it's not in the Philippines and you're investing outside, generally when we invest in stocks, we don't hedge. It's just too expensive to hedge the currency risk. We tend to diversify and let the money grow out in the global, market. So generally we don't hedge.
Awesome. All right.
All right.
There are so many more questions. I'm getting inundated with requests for information. The two of you might have to come again.
Yes.
And do a part 2. So again, please send love. I want to see how many people would like them to come back again. Just please comment 1, press 1 if you want us to have them back again. They always do anyway.
Yeah.
All right, but very quick before the game. Somebody watched one of my interviews with you and said, did Andrew said in your interview that you can't get rich on stock investing? Please correct me. Do you remember that? Yes, Andrew.
Well, I said you won't get rich in the stock market until you change the way you think about it. I try to remind people that the stock market is not where you create value. The stock market is where you grow your value or your wealth. So it's very important. A lot of people go into the stock market thinking they're going to trade the market and they're going to create wealth.
Oh, yeah.
Use the stock market to grow wealth, and you will potentially get rich over a long period of time.
See,
Perfect.
somebody
Absolutely
remembered,
perfect.
and he actually said the exact same thing you said. That's
amazing.
They want you back. They
need
want
to get in touch with
back.
me.
Yes. So Franz, thank you so much. But thumb game, please, before anything else, before we say goodbye. Okay. Our thumb game, this if you like the investment, this if not, and this if meh. All right, very quick. GameStop. GameStop. All right. Ayala Land. All right. Good. Oh, somebody said, well said to your explanation about investing in stocks. AMC. So we're talking about meme stocks in the US. AMC. SM Prime. All right. Apple stock. Not the Apple phone. Apple stock. Index funds. Right. And ETFs. How about Dogecoin?
There's a question about crypto. There's a question about crypto.
Neutral.
Neutral.
Okay, Tesla stock.
Tesla. Mhm.
Who
Tesla?
are okay fans
To
of
the
Elon
moon?
Musk, and non-fungible tokens or NFTs.
Yeah.
All
Wait,
right.
let's make an
Thank
NFT now. Let's make an NFT now. Take a
Yes,
picture.
right now.
Andrew was like, all right. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. Powerful one-liners from each of my wonderful guests. Franz first, just one-liners, please.
Prayers. I start and end my day with prayer,
Yeah.
connecting to Him.
Thank you, Andrew.
I would say keep your fees low so your money can grow.
Oh, you rhymed.
That's good. That's good.
You
That's good.
rhymed, partner Warren.
Nako.
Partner Warren.
It's a good thing we didn't bring up insurance. Talking about what we always point out at the end of the show. If you don't know, ask. There's so many people out there who can help you learn about investments, about how to maximize your wealth. Just ask. There are people like Andrew and Franz, and of course myself, and of course si Salve, who's always been there for everybody. Just ask us, and we will help you.
Thank you so much. Just very quick before we end, this has been a great ride for me. Almost 25 years, a quarter century in financial literacy. And today, somebody I just met online sent me chicken and paella because they were inspired by financial literacy. And financial education has really changed their lives. And I thank you, Aris and Maricel. You made me cry today with your gift. I don't know them personally, but because they kept watching On the Money, he downloads On the Money instead of music and listens to the episodes over and over just so they can continuously save and invest money. So sometimes life is difficult. There are money problems that you think you can't get out of. If you are in that situation, know that there is a way to get out of it, but you have to be willing to do the sacrifice of spending time learning. You can do that. Can you please plug your events and your shows very quickly? Direk, I'm so sorry. 4 minutes overtime. Franz, can you plug your shows? And then Andrew, before I forget. Oh, your shows, your trainings.
Franz, you're on mute.
Oh, you're on mute, Franz.
I have a daily session, Zoom session, so you can connect with me. You can message me. I have my same name on my FB account. Then you can just PM me. I can send you the link so you can join. Daily, I have that. I also have sessions about mutual fund, about insurance during weekends in UAE. During Fridays and Saturdays. Before the show, I just finished one session about mutual fund.
Franz is so
Great stuff.
amazing.
Thanks,
Her
Franz.
weekends are busier than her weekdays. Andrew?
Just download scan the QR code that I put in there, and you'll get access to chapter 8 of my online course, and you'll get all the information in there about how you can join the course and also join the Facebook group. And if that doesn't suit you, just go to my worstinvestmentever.com. That's my podcast. I've done 400 episodes of interviewing 400 guests, and I'd love to have you there. And if you go there, you can also just go to the contact page, click on it. That goes directly to my private email. So if anybody, is thinking about a single guy, okay, yeah.
All right.
You're so cute.
All right.
Quick shout out to everybody. My classmate,
Hello.
classmate from elementary and high school, they're here, and she's a bank manager. Maya,
Hello.
Maya's
To
here.
Francis Valencia. Hi, thanks for watching.
Paul El Cairo Buesar. A lot of people. Aisha Hortizuela. I also just met her on Facebook, but she's amazing. Twinkle. Warren, can you shout out on Kumu? Please help.
Nako, nakita ko
Watching
yung mga
from
friends
Bicol,
dito.
Cedric.
Ang dami masyado.
Yeah. Sorry,
Ganun sa
a
Facebook
lot of
ako.
you. Dynamite, Class Fam.
Uno the
Jay
one, hello.
is here.
Hello, Jay. Always there. Thanks, guys, for sharing your Saturday with us.
All right,
you so
bye. Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate you. Thank you, friends. Thank you, Andrew. And
Thank
of course,
you.
to my partner,
Bye.
Warren. See you again, guys, on Saturday. next
See you
week.
next week.
Bye!
Bye.